Hi, Louise here, and welcome to Boost Talk. Today I've been in conversation with Marianne Choong, and we were talking about authenticity in communication and how that impacts relationships, and particularly how it fosters trust-based relationships. We were discussing how we do this quickly, how we can manage to build sustainable relations based on authenticity. And Marianne was saying some fabulous things around intentional communication and intent, conscious choice, being aware of language. She always uses the phrase that words matter. And she's correct, they do. But she said something that I really enjoyed. She said that I work hard to voice my thoughts. So she talked about, she comes from a position of intent which is positive, which is about sharing, about learning, about curiosity. And she said, I've become quite good at consciously choosing language to voice my thoughts. It's a really interesting conversation. Hope you enjoy it. Comment, like, and I'll see you over on Boost Your Career. Hi everyone, Louise here from Boost Your Career, and welcome to another Boost Talk. And today I'm in conversation with management consultant and business strategist Marianne Choong. Welcome.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you for the opportunity to be here.
How are you? You good?
I'm very well. Every day is a good day.
Excellent. Now, we thought we'd talk about authenticity and how authenticity can foster trust-based relationships. And that might sound like a really weird question to be posing to someone who is a management consultant and a business strategist. But I have my reasons, and I thought if it was okay with you, I'd start with your role. If you could describe what it means to operate in that space, that would position why I thought this is a good topic for us to talk about.
The role itself found me, rather, I would say, to start with, rather than me doing it. It was just a meandering of career journeys and transforming myself essentially from my life space, from my career space, because they're quite intertwined in my world. So the management consulting role just emerged naturally.
Yep.
For me. It emerged from a space of me wanting to pursue my MBA, a Master's in Business Administration. And it was almost the default position one rolls into after completing this Mount Everest of an experience for about 3 years doing it part-time. I suppose after that 2.5, 3 year experience, one is so exhausted that one goes, oh my God, what do I roll in next? And just flop into whatever that comes up. Sheer desperation, exhaustion probably was the premise for that.
Congratulations anyway on surviving and then thriving.
Thank you. It took a while to sort of thrive from that, but yes, it was. So the management consultant space for me was essentially my curiosity in trying to apply what I was spent years learning, and by choice this time, not of like a first degree. I'll just take a step back. The first degree, as coming out of university, I was a chemical engineer. So that first degree almost sets one up for me for my sort of where I decide to go in life, because as a chemical engineer, you have a set amount of industries that you thrive in, and so on and so forth. So as a chemical engineer, I found that yes, I was consciously choosing to be a chemical engineer, but it was a little bit more driven by, I've got to make this whole career life decision. Where do I have to go, and blah, blah, blah. At that age of, early 20s. I did my MBA in my early 30s. So the MBA was almost a first world problem. Essentially, I had choice. I had lots of choice to decide what to do. but I did pursue that choice consciously out of a little dream I had when I was in my 20s to do an MBA. So it took me a while to get to that point, and when I got the opportunity, I said, "Let's do it." I jumped into it. So
Follow
that
the
was
dream.
it was a little, yes, I have to say, it was for following a dream that I concocted. I didn't quite understand why, but it's sort of, yeah.
It's an interesting role because it means so management consultant, you're not working in any one spot. You're moving in and out of organizations. Is that right?
That's right. It's more like how I choose to be a management consultant in a way that allows me to move in and out of organization. I say that because one could choose, there are many, many choices. One could choose to be an in-house management consultant and not move, which I did for a period of time. So when I say management consultant, the job title doesn't say so, but the skill set being applied and what I'm doing is very much similar to what one does as a professional management consultant with one of the consulting houses, so to speak. So one could choose to do it in-house. One could choose to be in a consulting firm, as part of their team of consultants, and then move in and out client work. Or one chooses to completely break the mold, like what I've done, and decide to
go girl,
go freelance. And everybody go, oh my God. Go freelance. And by that, I mean, yes, I'm using fully my skill set that I've collected over my career journey as a management consultant and so on and so forth. But I will adopt a particular purpose in a client organization, as in a particular role. So I'm a program manager in this space. I'm a commercial manager in that space. But yeah, in a nutshell, freelance management consultant just covers everything.
It does. And that's what interests me, because I think people in that position often underestimate the power of the relationship build and the way that happens. And that's why I thought a conversation with you around authenticity and building trust-based relationships could be a really interesting one, because you have to develop sustainable trust-based relationships quickly.
Yes.
And you rely on authenticity to maintain that momentum. So I suppose my first question is around, how do you make that happen? What are the skills that you need to remain authentic, because you're going in and out and you're meeting so many people, to remain authentic and quickly build that trust-based relationship?
Gosh, Louise, when you ask me that question, I'm going, oh my God, I have to think about this now. Break it down.
Well, it's because we don't. It's because we accept our strengths without even really thinking about it. And well, and in Boost, that's what I talk about. The more we understand what that skill is,
100%.
the more we can emulate it. So I have put you on the spot a bit. I'm sorry.
No, do not apologize. It's a great question. I will lean into it.
You go.
The way I'm going to lean into it is, oh my God, I'm just doing doing the typical management consultant thing now. I'm just literally role modeling this. I am telling you what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I am telling you as I think, which means you have clarity on my thinking process, what's going on in my head. So I'm voicing out my thoughts. And that, number one, is a skill that no other role that I've learned throughout my career journey picked up until I went through the management consulting period in my life. That is a very trained, conscious skill where they drill it into you at almost from day zero, -10 almost, where one voices out one's logic and thought process, and thinking. And that in a way gives and I tie it back to the being authentic bit and trust. It helps someone else understand one's thoughts, and it gives one's that connection a bit more visibility. Yes, everybody always says it's a communication skill. Oh, okay, communication skill, that one word contains a whole big, what does that
That's a
actually
very
mean?
big topic.
It actually doesn't mean anything because it means everything almost in a way. So if I have to like pair out this particular element in what and in the communication skills world is the ability to help someone essentially understand my thoughts a little bit better. And in that way, I help tease out the other counterparty's thoughts.
Yeah. So your intent is crucial here. That's one thing that I'm hearing.
Yes.
So the intent is to be curious, to be candid, to invite discussion and innovation and creativity. That's your intent.
Yeah.
There's another skill that I'm observing here in the moment, which is a deliberate choice around language set.
Yes, what I do consider my words quite deliberately when
Words matter. I've heard you say that before.
Words matter.
Words
Thoughts become things, and words matter.
Yeah.
So I do, depending on obviously the topic of choice, and you know, we are in a very considered space at this point in time. Our words matter even more, I think. So obviously, then I'm thinking a lot more carefully and in a considered way of how I'm communicating to you, the word choices that I use in this forum, and now I'm just realizing and observing this conversation. I'm thinking, oh my God, is that why my brain is so full most of the time? Because I seem to think a lot.
Possibly.
And quite fast. I'm like,
and it's not just free flowing. I think that's where I was headed. That yes, you love to voice your thoughts and you use that as a tool for the way that you engage with people and create relationships and outcomes. You also do it with intention. There is a considered process around word choice and language use that's intermingled under that. But for me, that's what gives you your authenticity. And I'm wondering that because you go in and out of organizations so often, what have you learnt and what have you observed around authentic and inauthentic people? How do you pick them? What are the tells?
That's a very good question, because I'm going to challenge us and invite us to reframe it slightly. And the reason I do that is because I'm picking up on the almost black and white, you know, authentic versus inauthentic concept here. And for me, and obviously everybody have their own personal views on this. For me personally, I fundamentally do not believe that anyone operates from a space of inauthenticness, if I could.
No, great word. It's a word now.
Yeah. And that is done on purpose, because as you alluded earlier, that when one works or does anything, intent is absolutely crucial here, critical. One's intent. So if I even consider, for me, is that if I even consider that someone is being coming from a place of inauthenticity as a first move, as a premise, I feel that would set myself up for not success or failure if I consider that point, because I then will be biased towards
so positive intent's what you're talking about here, that you engage from a premise of positive intent from other people.
And I think that's correct. And I think that is absolutely critical, because I don't think, to be quite honest, I don't think that I was very conscious of this until later in my career journey. So in my, as one matures and gets old and crabby and skeptical, I suppose, I'm talking about myself.
Wiser.
Not at all. It's just probably from a space of I hate to use this term, but a bit of war wounds. Essentially, one goes through a lot of bumps along the road. You get the little, one feels the little slashes, little knife darts, and whatever. Metaphorically,
But no, they only make sense though if we have reflective practice. So
yes.
even
So
that.
it was like, oh my God, if I, back when I was much younger, in my 20s and 30s, probably, I would go through those experiences and I would take them as hurts, the difficult, conflicting conversations or difficult circumstances. It just was, I felt it was horrible. It hurt. Why is this person acting this way? Blah, 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 blah. And so now I'm slightly older. I'm in my late 40s, and I've come, in my personal growth journey, and I realized that if I just went, okay, this person, it's not about them being inauthentic or authentic, inauthentic, essentially. They are being their true self. They have a perception of X and Y, and it's my job to understand that perception. It is my job. So if I go from that premise, then I literally lean on my natural curiosity as my strength. I lean on trying to hear their language, listen for their language, their words. And obviously when we go word choices and so on and so forth, yes. But one's word choices stem from one's culture.
Yes.
Essentially.
Yes.
So for me, it's like that person's story, that person's experience, that person's where they came from. It's all reflective in language, unfortunately or unfortunately. So it just is. So I'm listening out for that. So I'm coming from then a premise of very carefully. All right, you're talking. That person is talking to me in a way that's very natural for them because they're expressing something. And so I'm trying to understand that, reflect, play back, and then build on that relationship. So I, by choice, choose only to consider that a person, everybody is coming from a place of authenticity. It's my job to work out what it is and how I work with it.
So I was going to say profound. It's not profound. It is so emotionally charged, this process. And
Yes.
you just quietly said to understand, reflect, and play back. That process in itself can be incredibly difficult for a lot of people. And what
Yes.
you're suggesting is you now, at whatever age and through what experiences, you are now able to pause, take a breath, realign intent, that everyone is coming from a good place and I'm going to find it out. And I do that through that pause, through that understanding, reflecting, and playing back. If that's not communication excellence, I don't know what is.
Oh, thank you. That's very
No,
sweet.
it's beautiful because that is authenticity. And if I'm engaging with people on that level all the time, because I'm coming at it from a place of curiosity, a place of wanting to understand, a place of wanting to move things forward or learn something or share something, my intent comes through as authenticity. I think that's
Yes, it
fabulous.
does. Yes, it does. And there's a self-fulfilling agenda behind this because the counter to it is very draining.
It is very draining, and it's also like this. So you never it's tumultuous. You're never going to get where you want to go. That's the other thing, isn't it?
Well, some people, not my character, but there are some characters, our personality types that thrive on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are. They're out there. There are different
I did
types
when
of
I was
characters.
young.
See, like where at some point, because it's high energy. Yes, it's conflicting. Yes, it's a bit of drama, but it's high energy. It's engaging.
Yeah.
So once adrenaline, and so on and so forth, for all reasons. So there are people that are more prone to that style. And I understand that a little bit better now, probably less when I was younger. So for me personally, I am a raging introvert. So people's energies do drain me. I will be upfront.
Yes.
And after operating, in meetings, like say doing the work that I do, after about 3 or 4 hours, it can constantly talking and in meetings and so on and so forth, interacting, I am drained.
Yeah.
I will admit it. And so
Yeah.
once I do need to recover consciously, and dive under the duna a little bit and then emerge again, feeling great. But knowing that about myself, but that self-awareness came from it took a while, or came from experience, to be honest,
Yeah.
because it took me a long time
It's
to
conscious though. It's not just something that falls in your lap, that complete understanding of self and how the strengths and weaknesses and beliefs and values and how they all align in that authentic self. That's a complicated journey, that one, and it requires the breath, doesn't it?
It does. And I was like, if I only had one wish, really at the end of the day, is going. I say that, slightly. I'm thinking, I have one wish, yes, but I'm going like, well, if I knew that, I wouldn't, be here talking to you today. So it doesn't work. But anyway, what I was going to say is, I wish I knew this maybe 30 years ago.
Sure.
That's the speed up time warp thingy, because understanding this is right now the self-awareness journey and this personal journey linked to how one operates inside. If I knew this literally 30 years ago, I was thinking, oh my God, I would be flourishing even more today.
It is remarkable, isn't it? And it gladdens my heart to hear you say that, because that's what Boost Your Career is all about. It's about that personal impact, the qualities, the skills, the traits that allow us to have that positive impact. And it starts with self.
It does.
Self-awareness.
That's why I love your work, Louise. That's why I absolutely love your work. That's why we're having this conversation.
It's interesting though to hear. One of the reasons I wanted to have this conversation with you in particular was that your role is so technical. It's systems driven, and it is all about strategy, and there are processes and ways and particular means, and that can become incredibly rote, if you like. But what I see in you is what I try to say when I talk to groups of younger women. It's, you're here because of your technical expertise. That's not, and that's no differentiator, because you're the same as other people in this room. You've all got that degree, or you have that qualification, or that. The difference is in the how. It's how we engage and how authentic we are around those relationships. That's what you're saying.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful.
That is the difference, and I am almost living proof of it, because if it wasn't a difference, I couldn't do what I do today. The only reason why I would be able to be a freelancer and work with different teams is, I believe personally, is the experience of working with me is the differentiator. So there's no amount of beautiful brochures, marketing, pieces, no amount of, whatever advertising, social media that I could do to get new business, to talk to new clients. No amount of that actually really matters. What really matters is the experience of working with me, that hopefully by word of mouth, generates their new connections. But I couldn't sell it. I can't sell the experience of working with me. I can only work with you. And then by that experience, perhaps that connection deepens and we have the opportunity to work together again. But that is what I truly believe is almost the business model, but Yes, in a way, but it's not a traditional way of looking at it.
No, it's not, because it's based on self-awareness and self-belief, and then that's translated into the skills of engagement. And
Yeah.
you started with voicing my thoughts and then talking about intent, and just the throwaway line of, I listen to understand, I then reflect, and then I play back. I mean, seriously, if that's not if that's not heightened self-awareness, I don't know what is. And what you're showing people here in this conversation is, it allows you to develop real, authentic, trust-based relationships
Yeah.
that sustain not just that relationship, but also a business.
Indeed.
Pretty
So
cool.
it is it is almost a life philosophy in a way, not just a work lens here or career lens here.
Yeah.
Because take away the reason why we are talking today, Louise. We met, through work that we were doing together, but to be quite honest, for me, yes, that was the opportunity of meeting you and working with you, but the building the relationship and the trust and the connection with you overtakes that pretty quickly. The
Yeah.
reason why, we are still connected, the
Or
reason
stops it.
yes, yes,
One or the other, isn't it?
it's 100%.
Yeah.
So it very quickly for me anyway, my personal view is, if I don't even like the concept of networking. I don't network because there is maybe it's just my
You
personal
form relationships, which
that I can be bothered with.
which normal people would call networking. And I suppose if you're just starting out and you don't have the confidence, or B, a wide range of people that you're meeting, the professional networking scene is something that you need to do.
Absolutely, 100%.
And the skills you're talking about, though, they're the ones that you would take into that professional networking process, so that you're developing rich, authentic engagement with people, not just
Yes.
handing out cards.
Correct.
Yeah.
100%. You've framed that really, really well. The way I am aware of this, that there are people out there who don't like the word network either, because there is a perception that it is transactional.
Yeah.
That it is
And
all
false.
about. It can be, of course, it can be. But on the other hand, if for those who are searching for an easier way to think about it, I do encourage, thinking of it as just making a bunch of friends,
Exactly.
work friends. But
Exactly.
I have to, for the raging introvert me, have to consciously think of it that way, because I go, oh, that makes it easier for me. Oh, yeah, they're not going to drain I go, oh, they're friends. I like people. I like friends. And that it helps me, overcome any potential discomfort around, putting oneself into a room full of strangers.
Yeah.
It could be very daunting for some people.
Incredibly. And again, it comes back to the word intent, though, doesn't it? If my intent is to enter that room to meet potential friends.
Yes, I'm going to have fun. I'm going to,
Exactly.
be curious.
It's a
and
much better intent than, I'm going to score business. Like it.
Oh, I've heard, gone through, recommendations in inverted commas, where they go, oh, you need to go into that room and you have to get at least 10 business cards and exchange 20 contact numbers, whatever it is. And oh my God. But that's how I started in my career. That was the perception. That was what I was taught,
Yeah, we're lucky that bit's changed, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, thank God. Or I just went, I'm not going to do this.
Marianne, we've moved into a whole other topic around attitude and mindset. So I'm wondering if at some point you'd like to come back and we can have a conversation around attitude and mindset, and how they play into this whole concept of authenticity and engagement with other people. Because
Absolutely love to.
excellent, because that would be fun. Thank you so much for joining me today.
No worries.
It's a big topic, and the whole idea of our Boost Talks is that we just present a few thoughts, and we follow them. We follow them up if we want to. So thanks for the chat. It was lovely to see you, and I'll see you back on Boost Talk at some time.
Thank you.
Hello, Louise Phelan here, and you've been listening to yet another Boost Talk, and I know you loved it. These women are being so generous with their time and their experience and their expertise, and it's great to have their perspective on their career enhancement strategies for women in this post-pandemic hybrid workplace that we find ourselves in. So for more information, head on over to our website, boostyourcareer.com.au, and I'll see you there.